integument. Integumentary system means skin and skin appendages. When we talk about integumentary system, we are talking about the skin and its own appendages. What are the skin appendages? Skin appendages include the nails, that is the fingernails, both the nails of the hands and the toes, both big and the smaller toes. So all the nails are part of the skin appendages, and then followed by the hair. Hair, you know, we have hair distribution along all our skin. We have hair in our head, armpit, pubic hair, and all other part of our body. But in any other part of the body, the hair is sparsely distributed. While in other areas like our head, our armpit, and our pubic hair, the hair there is densely populated. Are you clear? So now we are going to discuss about how the skin and its own appendages develop. So we are going to discuss about three things: the skin, the nails, and the hair. So if you now take the skin in general, it is made up of two parts. What we call the epidermis. From the word epi means above or outside. So we have epidermis. That means it is on top of the dermis. So the second part of the skin is what we call the dermis. So we have dermis, we have epidermis. So the epidermis is the first layer of the skin, then followed by the second layer, which is the dermis. Below the dermis, we have what we call hypodermis. So we have hypodermis that is lying below the dermis. So hypo means below. So the dermis is in between the epidermis, and the hypodermis is below the dermis. So these are the three key things that we're talking about with regard to the skin development. So if you now take the skin, the epidermis and the dermis, they developed from two different sources of our trilaminar germ disc. If you recast back to our trilaminar germ disc, we were talking about the ectoderm, mesoderm, and the endoderm. So now the three germ disc, the ectoderm is where this epidermis develops. So the entire epidermis develops from the epidermis. So it's from the ectoderm. So the epidermis, as I was saying, develops from the ectoderm, while the dermis develops from the mesoderm. So out of the three trilaminar germ disc, these two, ectoderm and mesoderm, they give rise to the epidermis and the dermis. So that means the whole skin develops from ectoderm and mesoderm. Epidermis develops from ectoderm entirely. Dermis develops entirely from mesoderm. So we have now seen the two sources of the skin itself. So if you now take the epidermis alone, the epidermis is made up of 5 layers. It's made up of 5 histological layers. Histologically, if you now take skin, you are going to see that the epidermis is made up of 5 histological layers. The first layer is what we call stratum corneum. The next layer is what we call stratum lucidum. And the third one is what we call stratum granulosum. And the fourth one is what we call stratum spinosum. And the last one is called stratum basale. So we have 5 epidermal layers. These 5 epidermal layers, 5 histological layers, they give rise to the epidermis. For the dermis itself, it is made up mainly of 2 histologic layers. The superficial layer is what we call the layer of loose connective tissue. The deeper layer is made up of dense connective tissue. So we can say that dermis is divided into superficial layer and the deeper layer. The superficial layer is made up of loose connective tissue, whilst the deep layer is made up of dense connective tissue. So we have now seen that, basically speaking, the skin is made up of 7 layers. Epidermis is made up of 5 layers. Dermis is made up of 2 layers. We have already made mention the layers of the epidermis, and then I've just made mention about the layers of the dermis. We are not going to concern ourselves with the hypodermis because it is not a part of the skin. So the skin is mainly formed of epidermis and the dermis. So now, what I'm going to discuss with you is with regard to how these 5 layers of the epidermis develop. And then after that, we now see how the dermis also develops, and then how the other content of the dermis also develop. Because within the dermis, we have so many structures in there. In the dermis, we have neurovascular bundles. We have arteries, veins, and nerves. So these nerves, they terminate at the junction between the epidermis and the dermis. So we have what we call nerve endings, responsible for our sensation. You understand? So we have neurovascular bundles within the dermis, and then we also have the root of the hair, through which the hair now emanates from the dermis. Attached to the hair root, we have what we call the sebaceous gland, responsible for insulating our own body, because the sebaceous gland is responsible for the secretion of what we call sebum. This sebum is oily, especially during the hot weather when the atmosphere is very hot. So the sebum now, once it is being released from the sebaceous gland, its own secretion passes through the hair, and then it comes outside to, lubricate our body, to insulate us. So also we have sweat gland also within the dermis, and then it also opens up into the hair root for it to be able to secrete its own secretions. We all know that sweat gland, secretes sweat, and that sweat is responsible for excretion of our waste product in our own body, similar to the function of the kidney. Kidney excretes, toxic waste from our own body system. Similarly, the sweat gland also excretes certain toxic waste from our own body so that it can be excreted, during our own, during our own daily, life. So now we've seen that in the dermis we have sebaceous gland, we have sweat gland, and then we have hair and its own root, and then we have neurovascular bundles, and then we have nerve endings at the junction between the epidermis and the dermis. So we will now take each of these one by one to see how each one develops. You get it? So and at the end of this, I'm also going to discuss about the skin appendages, that is the nail itself, and the hair, how it's also develops.